All right, it's officially 2. So, hey everyone, and welcome to our introduction of our new Intune extension. So, just wanted to thank you all for joining, and also hello to all the people that are watching the recording later. So, I'm just going to introduce myself first. I'm Sabrina. I'm the product marketing manager here at Remo3, and I'm joined by James Graham, our chief product officer. And in this webinar today, we're really excited to introduce a new extension that we built that's going to allow you to manage your apps and intragroups in Intune more efficiently. So essentially gain back some of the config manager-like functionality and let you maximize your investment in Intune. So we have a couple of slides just to introduce the concept, and then this will be mostly demo heavy today. So obviously the first question before we really get into it is, what is this new product? So the straightforward answer to that is that we've developed what is essentially an extension for Chrome and Edge for app assignment, deployment, and it opens up right on top of your Microsoft Intune browser. So it hooks directly into your Intune environment in order to let you do things like bulk app assignments, bulk cleanup, phase deployments, package insights, all the things that Intune doesn't really support natively, but are obviously incredibly important to an enterprise IT team. And the main reason why we've built this tool is because while Intune is really great at managing a variety of devices and apps from a single console, it doesn't do a good job of doing that efficiently or, in a time-saving manner. So what we found is that as enterprises are making this move to go more cloud native, they're tending towards co-management because the transition from Config Manager to Intune isn't as seamless or as one-to-one in terms of functionality as we'd like it to be. So what we're seeing as some of the pain points are, Intune admins are performing repetitive multi-click workflows for each application assignment, cleanup, or deployment, and that's just resulting in wasted time. It's frustrating for your Intune teams. Native Intune lacks robust support for these bulk actions or phase deployments, and so that makes your large-scale rollouts really difficult to manage without, custom scripting or custom solutions, so you can't really scale efficiently. And then on top of that, you have these manual workflows that are leading to inconsistent group assignments, deployment errors, especially when managing many apps across different users or device groups. And removing app assignments from multiple security groups is also, a manual error-prone process, and that often gets forgotten or is inconsistently applied. And the tie into all of that is that there's little visibility into what your application is actually installing or whether it's compatible with your target environment. So that creates uncertainty and in post-deployment issues potentially. And of course, as I touched on before, is that as your teams are moving from SCCM, you have to adapt to a very different model in Intune. There are obviously some functionality gaps in Intune that an SCCM and Config Manager just has a little bit more granularity to them. So you're missing some of the familiar controls like deployment rings, audits, and that granular targeting. So you invest a lot into adopting Intune and migrating to Intune. So we obviously want you to have a good experience and maximize your potential with it. So what we've done with this extension is we've essentially built an automation layer for your Intune space. So a couple of the things that this extension does is it can bulk assign, deploy, and clean up your applications, obviously from a single browser extension, and then remove those app assignments from security groups automatically or on a schedule, however you configure it. You can create custom deployment rings. You can schedule your deployments using manual, scheduled, or immediate triggers. You can structure your workflows and you have audit logging. So that's reducing your inconsistencies, that's reducing your human error. And this organization-wide log means that you have a record of all the actions that are taken in Intune across your entire team. And then what's particularly special about this extension and the fact that it's connected to our platform is that you can instantly see what each app is installing and whether it will run in your environment. So we actually can show your package details, and that's just enabling you smarter deployment decisions. It's giving you that crystal ball about how this app is going to run, what's going to happen in your environment, is it compatible in your environment? And then, of course, this whole config manager to Intune transition, what we've done with this extension is that we're bringing back some of that SCCM-like control and auditability, and we're filling in some of those gaps of Intune. So we're making that transition to Intune a little bit easier. We're sort of helping you maybe not rely so much on co-management, and we're getting you to this cloud native experience. And ultimately what we're doing is we're trying to help you maximize your experience in Intune, maximize your investment, and really just make your life easier so that you can use Intune effectively and efficiently. So with that, I'm going to throw it to James now to give you a live look at our user experience using the extension.
Thank you, Sabrina, and on time as well. Very impressive. Thank you very much for that eloquent introduction and setting the scene. So let me just get myself up and running by sharing my browser. And what I want to do first of all is just show you how simple it is to get this capability. So it's available on the Chrome extension store, and it really is just a simple case of you can search for it, you can find it by just searching for Remo Free or Intune, and it's just a one button install, and you can install it in either Google Chrome browser or Microsoft Edge browser, which I'm going to show you today. So single click install, and then it will appear in your extensions. And for me, I've got it pinned so you can see it there. So therefore, you know it's there and running. And let me just close that tab. And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to show you some of the cool functionality that we've developed. And I'm going to show you that live in Intune. So you can see on the screen here that I'm in Intune. I'm just going to refresh my browser session to ensure everything plays nicely. And everything looks normal, right? It's normal Intune for those that are familiar. But then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to browse to the apps section. And immediately you're going to notice something over here. So the Remo Free logo has appeared on the right-hand side, meaning that the extension is now active and it can do something on this page. So we've created the extension to be contextually aware of where you are in Intune, so to ensure that it provides value to you at the right time. But before I go into the extension, what I'm just going to do is it's almost build on what Sabrina said around, what are the problems that we are solving with this capability. So let's say, for example, you're an IT admin and you need to assign a bunch of applications. Let's say, SecOps have informed you that you've got multiple apps, versions of applications that are vulnerable and they need to be patched with new versions. And it's great, right? For Remo-free customers, we can provide you with those insights and the ability to patch these applications. But now you're at the point where we've got those apps into Intune and you need to get those out to your end users super quick. And immediately you start to fall into the problems with Intune. So what's very apparent is that you can't multi-select applications, right? You can only select one at a time. So if I want to assign, let's say, 10 of these applications, for example, unless I write a PowerShell script or some other scripting to do that, I'm going to need to click into these manually one at a time, and one click, and then I have to go to the properties, and then I have to scroll all the way down here to assignments. Then I have to click edit. Then I have to decide, okay, am I making it required, available? Okay, required. And then I can add my group. And then I can select maybe a couple of groups. But then if I want to make some available, I have to add the groups here. And suddenly you're talking lots of clicks, right? And this is just one app that I'm dealing with now. So imagine if you had to do this for 10 apps, 20 apps, 50 apps. Suddenly it becomes quite a painful process for Intune admins. And not just that, what if you wanted to deploy these apps using some sort of risk adverse phases, for example, like we do with our Windows updates? Maybe we've got a canary ring of users where we want to initially test the updated application on, or some pilot users before we push it out to broad. And we want to do that on some form of controlled scheduling or manual intervention process. The Intune out of the box doesn't allow for much or any of these capabilities. So that's really the value that we are providing. So if I just open the extension now, so what we're looking at here is the home screen. So I'm already signed in, but it uses Entra sign in. So really simple single sign-on process and seamless sign-in, allowing you to leverage your own identity platform and your own multi-factor authentication. Uh, and once I'm in, I land on the home screen. So what I can see here is I can see some of the deployments that I've done already or done previously requiring attention. On here, I've got some errors, so that's great. I can look into those. So for example, I can see, okay, this one had an error and it was because I'd already assigned these. So I was basically double assigning. So that's why we have that error there. But just to show you that we're able to troubleshoot issues as well. I'm also able to see some stats on some previous assignments that I've done with my applications and also how my wider organization is doing around deploying applications to identify any errors or anything I need to. But what I want to really show you is the true capabilities of this plugin. And I know of this extension. And in the agenda, I was set this very interesting task of being able to show you how we can assign do 50 assignments in 5 minutes. And so I think I better put my money where my mouth is and show you some of that capability. I'm actually going to be a little bit bold, and rather than just show you 50, I'm going to show you 100 instead. That's because how brave and confident I am in this capability. So I've selected 20 applications, so 20 individual applications. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a very simple and quick deployment. So I hit the new deployment button. So what this is doing now at the top, I can see all of the applications that I have selected. And don't, if I don't like the look of one, or maybe I added one by mistake, I can simply remove them by clicking on the X. And in here, I can see all of my security groups that I can assign some of these applications to. So let's go and pick 5. So I'm just going to pick the retail. I'm going to pick this broad group, executives, maybe some HR, and I'll finish it off with a bit of finance. So I've got five groups selected for 20 applications. That's 100 assignments. So I click on the next step. And now what I've got is I've got the deployment option. So if you recall from my demo a few minutes ago in Intune, if I want to make some of these changes or maybe change to available, I would have to really, do a number of clicks to be able to do that. But if I want to do it in here, it's really simple. If I just want to have something different for the exec team, like for example, maybe I want available to all. Maybe I want to filter and save that. But maybe just for the HR guys, I just want to make it I want to make it required and save that. So you can see how easy it is for me to customize this deployment, just a few clicks and through a really intuitive UI. So now I've got my options all set up. In fact, let me just change it. Let's just make it required for everybody, and we'll keep it nice and simple and save that. Click next step. And so this is just a quick recap of everything. So I've got my 20 applications listed, and these are my 5 groups, and these are my options that I have selected. And now it's just a simple case of hitting deploy. So now that's going to stage the deployment. And what we have actually is this sort of 30-second cool off period. And so therefore, if you change your mind, you can hit the pause button to stop it from happening. And we like to add a bit of fun into our products and put some nice little Easter eggs. So what we've got is we've got these cool little sort of statements in here that we've tucked away, and these will sort of randomly change. That will just sort of give you a hint to say, if you're changing your mind, now is the time to pause it. So just look out for those in the plugin to make your lives a little bit happier. So this is in the process of starting soon, but what I'm going to do is it's now running. While that is running, I'm just going to give you a quick tour to make best use of this time. So I'm just going to come back to this in a second. And what I'm just going to do is show you some of these other features, such as deployment lists. So what this enables you to do is browse all of your previous deployments that you've done with the product. So, for example, I can see all of my previous assignments where I did one here, and this was to 50 apps, and this took over just around a minute, and I can see all of the groups that these applications went out to. And more importantly, you'll see here this correlation ID. So those of you that are really very familiar with Intune will know that in the Intune audit trail, every action that's performed in Intune has a correlation ID associated with it. So what we're showing here is the fact that everything we do here, that audit trail within Intune is retained. So what we're not doing is creating a secondary audit trail for you to see. It's basically all integrated with the existing Intune audit trail. So you can therefore track everything that's happening. And not just that, when we use the extension, you're doing it with the user credentials. So therefore, what this capability is able to do, it's only able to do what the current user has permission to do in Intune. So everything is done on behalf of that user. So therefore, you don't have to manage two levels of role-based access controls for this capability. So basically, your Intune admins, you have the Intune admin functionality or permissions. Therefore, they're able to use this successfully. You're not going to have some random user in your organization that comes across this extension and is suddenly able to assign applications. It doesn't work in that way. It's using the existing RBAC controls within Intune. So anyway, let me go back to my deployment that I just created. So I'm on UK time here and it's 7:15. So I'm just going to open that one. And we can see here that this completed. So this did 100 assignments, so 100 application assignments in 1 minute. So you can see here suddenly that time saved. I showed you earlier just how long it takes to assign a single application. So I've just done 100 application assignments in under a minute. And we can see here that all of these groups were assigned to all of these applications. So super powerful, super quick, saves you a bunch of time in Intune. But wait, I'm not finished there. I'm going to show you another thing. What if you want to deploy your applications in deployment rings, for example? So you want to take a less risky approach to deployments. What I just showed you was like an instant assignment, so it was instantly assigned to those groups. But what we have is this concept of phase deployments as well, where you can create as many phases as you like to roll out your applications to your end users. So what I'm just going to show you is a very simple three-phased approach, and we've got multiple trigger types. So I'm going to show you the immediate trigger. So this, as it says on the tin, is an immediate trigger. So this will do an immediate assignment to the groups I select. So I'm just going to select my Canary group for this one. So they'll get it straight away. And again, as with the simple assignment, you can edit all of these options on the fly. So for example, you can make it available or required, etc. Next step, save. So that's my first phase. I'm also going to create a second phase now, and I'm going to schedule this to happen in, I don't know, in about a month's time, 24th of July. Create that phase. So this is gonna lay dormant until that point in time, and then it will start the assignment based on the groups that I select in this stage. So I'm just going to include my pilot group, and then click next step, and then I'm going to save that phase. So we've got two phases so far. One that's going to happen immediately to the Canary group, and then a second phase which will kick in on the 24th of July to my pilot group. And I'm going to have one final phase, and I'm going to make this a manual. So this is, I have to manually trigger it. So it's almost like I'm happy with the Canary group, I'm happy with the pilot, and when I know I'm happy to proceed, I'll be able to click on the go button, the green button, to start this final broad deployment, and that will go out to my broad group. And again, we can select multiple groups here if we want to, just like we can with any other deployments that we do with this extension. So my broad group will get it finally, keep everything as default, click save, and there we go. We've got three phases with multiple different triggers. I'm going to hit deploy. So therefore, it's going to do this one immediately. That's going to start soon. And then we're going to have this one then start on the 24th of July. And as simple as that, that is a phased deployment. And whilst I've got you, I'm going to show you something else as well. Also, this extension comes in a couple of two different views. So I've got the wide view at the moment, but I can make it a little bit more narrow so I can still navigate Intune in the background. And let's say I'm just going to click on one of these applications. And what you're going to see now, I've drilled into an application and we've got this new button that's appeared. So package details. So the extension knows that you're now looking at this application, so it's created this button. So it's, as I said before, it's context aware. So if I click in here, what it's now doing is it's pulling data from the Remo free platform about this application. So let me just extend this view to make it a bit more clearer. So we can see the application that I picked. We can see that this application has been verified by Remo free. So we can see some of the metadata here, and we can see that we've tested it. And we know that we can see here that we've tested it against Windows 11 Enterprise 23 H2. So we know that this application will run successfully on that version of Windows 11. Also, I can see some of my deployments here as well. So if I've previously deployed this application, I can see those and I can drill into those if I want to. Also, we're bringing in further data around our Remo-free discovery data. So I can see here the executables and shortcuts that are delivered by this application, and also if there are any services associated with it. So suddenly I can start to see much more richer information, all while still remaining in the Intune browser, in the Intune console. And it's really easy to pivot to another app. So if I just minimize this one slightly, if I go back to the Windows apps, let's pick this one and extend it out again. And I can see then this switch to this application now as well to see information about this application. So I can see here for this version of 7-zip, it runs on AVD single session and multi-session as well, and it can successfully convert to an MSIX package type as well. So again, bringing this information into Intune to make it richer and a more richer experience. Let me just come back home. And then what I want to quickly show you, finally, we've got a little bit more time. I want to show you feedback. So this is um, feedback is super important to you. So you can see here this sort of smiley face here. This enables you to give us feedback on this product, make suggestions about this product. It's very much tailored to community users. So anything you want to give us feedback on, please do. And in here you can vote up and vote down your suggestions. And one final thing that Sabrina mentioned was cleanup. So eventually, if we want to clean up some of those applications, we're able to do that. So what this means is removing those existing assignments from those applications. So clear them down. Maybe it's, maybe we're superseding, maybe we're moving to a new version, and we can do that super easily by just creating a cleanup phase. And this one will start now, and it will wipe out or clear out those existing assignments. And that is it. That is a whistle-stop tour of our extension capability. And let me stop sharing, and I would just love to see if we've got any questions as we've got a few minutes left.
Sorry, I was on mute. We're in the last few minutes here. We're going to open it up to Q&A. Feel free to add your questions in the little Q&A button below. And also, I wanted to just mention the fact that we offer free trials of the extension. So if you're interested in trying it out, I dropped a Q&A on the slide on the screen right here, and it'll send you right to our free trial form. We do have a couple of questions. So one is, what are the prerequisites for implementing Intune Boost in an organization?
So the extension, there is no prerequisites required. So as I said, it's a simple one one, I'm not open. So go to the Chrome extension store and you can install it. And then if you are a Remo-free customer, it's a simple case of just signing in to the extension to gain access. In fact, I can just show you that experience now. So it uses Entra to sign in. My identity is associated with Remo Free, so I'm a known customer, and therefore it's as simple as signing in. And upon first sign in, there is a an app registration, so consenting to the permissions required. So we use least privilege for that. So we're only asking for the permissions needed for the extension to do the assignment of the application, so to view the apps and to do the assignments. And yeah, it's as simple as that.
We have a couple more actually. With the deployment, can you choose dependencies or is it only done alphabetically?
Ah, fantastic. Great question. So very much we're bound by the way in which Intune assigns applications. So the way in which we're doing this, we're doing Microsoft Graph calls to perform the assignment. And a great capability, actually a wider capability of Remo Free is that when um, in the Remo Free platform, we're able to discover application dependencies, particularly if you've defined those in Config Manager. And what we're able to do is when we export those apps to Intune, I don't have an example here because it's not something I prepared, but we will populate those dependency relationships for you. So let's say, for example, this 7-zip application had 2 or 3 application dependencies. When you export that application to Intune from Remo Free, those dependency applications will export alongside it, and those dependency relationships will be populated here. So therefore, with Intune, you don't necessarily assign those dependencies independently. You would assign this single 7-zip application to your users, and those dependent applications will install alongside it. So it's not necessarily needed as part of the extension capability, but it is a wider capability that we have in our platform.
Do you have any functionality that will deploy apps in a certain order, like a task sequence?
Ah, that is that's a tough one. It's a great question, actually. It's an interesting feature that we could certainly look into. I think that is one of those ongoing challenges with Intune. It's a bit of potluck which application comes down first, and yeah, even the Intune team haven't solved that problem. I think it's quite an interesting one. I have thought about this. Maybe we could build some form of workflows that you could curate, and yeah, then we could sort of track if an application has installed successfully and then move to the next one. I think some of the risks there is around user experience, around how long they're waiting, but I think it's an interesting concept. But right now, no, but it's definitely something I would love to think about.
So in a similar vein, does the extension allow you to track deployments? This person is specifically asking, allowing you to easily get a list of what has been successful, what has failed, and similar information that you get from an SCCM deployment when things don't go as expected.
Okay, so what we're able to do right now is we're able to, if I just go to the deployment list, so we're able to see all of those assignments that we've done previously here. We're also able to view it. So if we're in a individual application, as I showed earlier, we can see here and we can look at it from this view as well. So we can look at it from a single application perspective to see where we've assigned this application, and then any failures in those assignments we can look at those also. Where we're looking to extend this is perhaps is those installation errors. Because in fact, in our Intune Insights platform, we're able to show you those. So look out for the set of videos coming up in July, and we'll be able to show you how we're able to track those failed actual installations of the applications. Right now in the extension, we're tracking just those failed assignments. But we have our Intune Insights platform, and that is actually able to show you a whole bunch of additional insights, including those failed application installations that you're looking for.
So we have a question specifically about the package details. Does the application drill down view show the contents of the package work for any packaged apps?
I'm not sure I fully understand the context of the contents of the package work for any packaged app. So are we describing like the individual actions inside perhaps a packaged app where it does lots of different things, perhaps beyond just installing an app? At
Let's
the
hope this
moment,
person has more context.
yeah, I think I can. What we're showing is what we're showing. I think if we want to see more, then I'd love to hear that feedback, and we can put it on the list for consideration. At the moment, what we're doing is showing our remote-free discovery data, which is what we see here is just what executables and shortcuts are delivered as part of this application when it installs. So we can see services and we can see executables and shortcuts.
And there's one more. I'm not exactly sure if it's a question, but it's an interesting sort of callback to the rest of our platform. Anything within your tooling that would aid in the challenge of getting very large apps into Intune and deployed successfully. For example, 10 plus gigabytes in size.
Okay, excellent. So, well, I know that they have increased. It was quite a little while ago now, actually, wasn't it? Where they increased the size limit for Intune apps up to 32 gig. So, um, as part of our Intune export capability, we do have resilience built into that. So when you are what we do, we automate the creation of the Intune application objects. We automate the creation of the Intune Win file using the Intune Win app utility. And then we automate the uploading of the apps into the Intune storage blob. And we've got a bit of resilience baked into that, such as for those large files that can take quite a long time or they may fail. And we've got multiple retries baked into that. So we can certainly help with getting those apps into Intune. When it comes to the assignment, or sorry, the deployment, as I said, we aren't doing anything custom or proprietary with the actual install of the apps to the end users. That's using the Intune management extension as with any Intune deployment. But yeah, I'd love to see if we can help you on those large app uploads. Like we deal with multiple complex apps that we get from customers. You know, real complex heavy apps from SCCM, SAP applications, AutoCAD type applications, those types of things. So yeah, get in touch, and we've got POCs available, free trial options available. Let's see if we can get those apps up into Intune for you. Not a problem. We'll give it a go.
Yeah, this person added more context. They said Intune increases size limit, but they're seeing uploads failing along with deployments due to unknown timeouts.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help that Intune is still using tech from 15 years ago for
Like I,
deployments,
yeah,
which is kind of the whole reason why we built this tool in the first place.
yeah, like I will say that it is quite frustrating, particularly if you add an app through the GUI, and when you upload that Intune Win file here, it is a painful process, particularly if it's a large file. I've seen packages not particularly large timeout at this stage, so it's not a great experience. So yeah, like Remo Free, we can really help you get apps into Intune, whether they're third-party apps off the shelf or whether they're custom packages that you've got in SCCM. Yeah, that's one of our core capabilities there is helping you get your apps into Intune. In fact, it's one of the things that we excel at, particularly SCCM apps are able to capture those dependencies, capture your existing detection rules, the logo, all of the metadata, and we're able to get all of that into Intune for you, all fully automated. So yeah, I think look at the wider platform, and look at those sort of SCCM to Intune capabilities or our Intune capabilities that we've got. We can really help out there.
Yeah, for sure. So that's bringing us to the end of our time here. I think one of the key things that James and I are interested in is making sure that the products we're developing are legitimately valuable for the people that are using them. And we're constantly building new functionality or updating the UI to that end. So we're always looking for feedback, questions, feature suggestions from users like you. So please let us know if you have any thoughts, if you have any other questions that we haven't answered. Our emails were on the slide before, and I'm sure the webinar organizer will send out our emails as well. And just like provide your feedback in the extension itself or email James and I directly. And yeah, we want to hear from you. So thanks so much for joining, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.